So why am I going to talk about this today? Because came up, but also it's a little bit of a catharsis. So bear with me. And look, I'm not here to criticize. I'm not here to break anybody down, but bear with me on this. So the topic for this conversation, very short topic, I'm about to go to lunch, is you might be a coach baby if. You might be a coach baby if. So let's start with, and here's our baby here. Sorry, baby. I know it's tough, but you might be a coach baby if you will only coach a small, safe group of people. If you can only work with a very small, safe group of people, then you're probably a coach baby. You probably need to grow up and decide that you're gonna need to work sometimes with people that you don't feel safe around. You don't feel that they're going to give you everything you want. They're not going to necessarily make you comfortable, that it might actually be a stretch or a challenge for you to work with them. You might be a coach baby if, number 2, you expect to get tons of clients from your new website. You expect to get tons of clients from your new website. I talked to a ton of coaches. They're so excited about their website. They think their website is going to get them all these clients. They don't know anything about internet marketing. They don't know anything about web development. They don't know anything about direct marketing or branding. A lot of them, they don't even know anything about sales. And it's like, hey, website, that's all it takes. No, it takes a lot more than that. And if you haven't sold somebody one-on-one into your coaching, you haven't enrolled somebody one-on-one, what makes you think you could just throw something out there on the internet? Well, sure, something probably makes you feel that way, but it's just not the case. It's time to grow up and start working on this business and not expect your website to do all your work for you. It doesn't work like that for 99.9% of coaches, and for that matter, just about any business. Okay, third reason you might be a coach baby. You might be a coach baby if you won't work for less than $100 an hour. And look, I mean, these numbers can change, but I talk to way too many coaches that are like, I'm ready to take on clients, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna go for it, and then they get all these opportunities to work with people, to coach, to do work within the coaching industry. And I say, why aren't you doing that? Why haven't you taken that opportunity? And they say, oh, well, there wasn't enough money. I have my minimum level fee that I'm willing to accept. I'm like, how many clients do you have at that fee? None. How many clients have you ever worked with that you've actually gotten paid for? None. Like, who are you kidding? You need to start somewhere. And if it's not $100 an hour, that's really okay. You could do really, really well working for way under $100 an hour as a coach. In fact, it may require you to do that for quite a while before you get to $100 an hour or $200 an hour or $1,000 an hour. The only people I know that are working for $1,000 an hour are high-level consultants, people that work with celebrities, or they're celebrities themselves. So it's time to grow up if that is the mindset that you have coming in to your coaching business and just getting started. I don't care what you think you're worth. I don't care what you think you're supposed to make. I don't care if you think that it's lowbrow to work for less. You need to grow up. That is really immature thinking, and it's naive. You might be a coach baby if, this is number 4, you call anyone who runs free sessions a coaching slut or a coaching floozy. I heard this a couple months ago from actually someone I'm mentoring, and she said, I went to lunch with this group, and we were talking about all the sessions that we do, and I was talking about all the free sessions that I run. And she's a very successful coach. I mean, she's hovering around 6 figures as a coach. Okay, and she said, I run a lot of coaching, a lot of free coaching sessions, and a lot of them don't turn into clients. I just give them a couple free sessions, and that's that. And the whole group around the table said, "Oh, you're a coaching slut. You're a coaching floozy. We don't want to be coaching sluts. We don't give our coaching away. We don't devalue our coaching like that." And it's like, who do you think you are? First of all, to offer somebody coaching that's going to make a difference for their life is not some kind of, it's not some kind of ridiculous activity. It's not an activity that is somehow that you should be ashamed of. It's like, how ridiculous is that? And how arrogant of coaches or anybody to say, well, we would never give that service away because that makes us somehow less than. It devalues our service. What you charge for your service, whether it's free or whether it's $1 million a session, has nothing to do with the value of what you give. Nothing whatsoever. There are plenty of things that you give people that are tremendously valuable, that are priceless, that have infinite value, but you give them away. In fact, some of the things in life that are the most valuable cannot be sold or cannot be bought, or probably shouldn't be sold or bought. They must be given. So don't tell me that you somehow lower your value or lower your, you're not respecting yourself, or you're somehow less than, or you're devaluing yourself, or you're coaching your skill, your service, because you didn't charge enough for it, or because you didn't charge anything for it. That's a gift. And the fact is that some of the top coaches in the world, some of the big gurus that we look up to, they have given more coaching and more value and more seminars and more free information than just about anyone else around them have given. Are they worthless? Is their coaching less than valuable? No. In fact, the more you give your coaching away, the more you offer that to people, whether or not they pay for it, and the less you try to put some kind of control over who you'll talk to and who you'll work with and all that, the more valuable it becomes. Okay, it's lunchtime, but I'll finish this. The more valuable it becomes, not the less. I'm trying to remember who it was. He wrote In Search of Excellence. Tom Peters. When he wrote In Search of Excellence, by the way, if you don't know who Tom Peters is, you should check it out. Look him up. Read his books. I'm sure he's got some material on YouTube or wherever you can look. But he's top end Fortune 10, Fortune 100 consultant. And he started out working for McKinsey, big consulting firm, and then he quit. And he wrote In Search of Excellence with a couple partners. And so he was just getting his start as a consultant. He had already worked for a pretty penny under McKinsey. Now he's doing his own thing. He's gonna be an independent. He's gonna work in his own firm. And so he said, I'm gonna give In Search of Excellence away. And everybody told me I'm an idiot for giving all thousands of copies of this book away. You should sell this book. What are you doing giving this away? And he said, I packaged it up and I mailed thousands of copies of this book to all my clients and all the speaking venues and all the people who can help me and all the people that I wanted to work with and all my business associates. They all got a free copy of the book. Because when you get more information, more of your information in the hands of more people, your coaching becomes that much more valuable. It doesn't become less valuable. How naive for those individuals to say that, and frankly, how immature. You might be a coach baby if you think that giving away your information or giving away your service or giving away your seminars or giving away however you package up your coaching somehow makes you less worthy, your coaching less valuable, or somehow devalues your service. Now look, that's not to say, just to put a point on this, that's not to say that you don't want to be strategic in how you give your coaching away. You don't want to at some point charge for your coaching, but that's up to you. That's your business model. That has nothing to do with your value. How ridiculous. Sorry, this is my catharsis. You're helping me with that. Chris says, especially something they can consume and get value from it over and over and over again. Yeah. It's like if you give them something and they get more and more and more value, you know, look, people aren't just going to pay you before they get the value. They are waiting for you to give them enough value for them to feel confident that they can go ahead and sign up for coaching with you, because maybe you are charging quite a bit for your coaching. So that's the game, is how much value can I give? And if you want to put a limit on that, you want to put a ceiling on how much you're willing to give, all you do is limit your contribution. You limit your contribution, you're limiting your income, because your income is in direct proportion to your contribution. Period. If you do not make the difference, you do not add the value, you don't offer the level of contribution that no one else around you is offering, regardless, I don't care what you're getting paid. Forget about that for the moment. You don't do that, you won't sustain the income. You won't sustain the wealth. You will not generate consistent enough income. You might get lucky for a short time. You might get something there, but nah. Sorry, that's. I mean, you must be new. You must be a coach baby if that's the way you're looking at it. Yeah. Thanks, Benoit. I mean, this is what Gary talks about all the time, right? Jab, 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 right hook, right? The jabs are giveaways. The jabs is the difference you're making. I just saw one of his latest videos today. I'll pop it in the chat. I'll give a link to it, and he mentioned how he sees his role, and a lot of things he does, he charges quite a bit for, I'm sure, but he sees his role in terms of his relationships with people is my job is to make sure that people that are connected to me in any way, shape, or form are going to benefit, and that they're safe, and that they're taken care of, because he's the alpha in his community. He's the leader. He's the one who has the most income out of everybody around him, except for probably clients who have, bigger budgets, right? So what makes the alpha, what makes the leader, what makes the coach is that they gave more than anyone else around them. Again, does that mean be dumb about it and just give it away forever? No. But if you're limiting that up front, again, it's naive and it's immature. It is there. And again, it doesn't mean don't be strategic. It just means, don't judge yourself for giving something. Giving is half of the equation. A lot of people aren't willing to give that. They don't understand that that's part of it. They're starting out the way that a baby would be, selfish, like give it to me first before I expect to give what I know I need to give. That's the way a baby would be. And babies need to be that selfish because they, they're just trying to survive. But we're not babies. Even if we're starting out as coaches, we don't have to act like that. We're smart enough, and we are mature enough, and we're knowledgeable enough. We have enough experience and expertise outside of coaching that we're willing to step into the role of being a great coach and being a leader and advising people and helping them. If you can't handle that, then nobody's going to look up to you. Nobody's going to hire you, because they're going to see what a baby you really are, or they won't even see it consciously. They'll just react to it, and they'll kick you out. They won't even have an interest in talking to you because they know that you're holding back so much. They're never going to see the value that you could really offer. And I'm sure there's tons of value you could offer. So you call in somebody else who runs free sessions, a coaching slut, the way I heard, this group talked about my client, who's probably doing much better than a lot of them, that you might be a coaching baby. So fifth possibility here, you might be a coaching baby if you're above getting other than coaching work to make ends meet while you build your business. Sometimes I'll see new coaches start working with us, and they need to make money quickly, right? And it doesn't work out perfectly for them originally, the way that they would have liked, or the way that we saw that it was possible for them. And so we say, look, if you want to make this happen, you got to sustain an income. You got to be able to, pay your bills at least, probably, while you're building this business. So what else can you do to make ends meet while you're going for the gold, while you're going after the perfect gig, while you're going after the perfect clients? You're putting together your website. You're setting up your marketing. You're learning to coach. You're getting certified. You are building your sales funnel. You're setting all that up. You're sowing all the seeds. You're starting to have those conversations. You're learning how to have those. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, I can't do that. Or, this, I didn't get into this business so I could do something else to support it. As if going into this business is some kind of panacea, that they're all of a sudden they're going to call themselves a coach and suddenly there's like money falling from the sky. And I apologize if my industry, of the training industry and working with advisors and consultants and seminar leaders and authors, and we somehow make somebody think that that's what's going to happen the first month you start. I mean, I know I never said that, but if somebody felt that, number one, you're just a little naive, and number two, I'm sorry if somebody gave you that idea. And at the same time, it's time to grow up and take responsibility for being real about what it takes to make something happen. And sometimes that's just more than just doing just what you feel like. This is not just do what you love and the money follows automatically. And by the way, when I think it was a book they wrote that coined that phrase, do what you love and the money will follow. They didn't say do what you love for a day and the money will happen like immediately in a month. I don't think that's what they meant. Right? So you might just have been a little deluded if that's what you were expecting, and you won't do anything else. By the way, a lot of coaches that, even I've had coaches that work on my team that have reacted this way, and I'll say, look, we don't have a client for you right now, but we will. And one of the ways that you can make ends meet and make some money while you're doing this is you can work in all these other areas that we have opportunity for within our business or within this industry. You can write about coaching. You can write about what our clients need. You can produce for us. You can work with me on videos. You can you can support another coach who's already who's already got a ton of clients and support them in what they're up to. There's a lot of things you can do in this industry today and possibly make a full-time income. Oh no, don't want to do that. No, I'll just wait until you got clients. I don't want to do any of that. And I've seen coaches who would rather play video games and screw around. I mean, I know one in particular, and I offered her these opportunities. She's like, I don't have time for that. And then she comes on a session like 6 months later and says, I'm trying to like motivate myself to go build my business and my practice, and I distract myself with like these little video games, these little iPad, iPhone video games. And I'm like you're not motivated enough to do anything, it sounds like, much less coach, because you're going to have to do some things you don't want to do in order to do what you really love doing. I coach, I'm not going to print out my schedule right now, but I coach about 2 days a week, and the rest of the week I do things that are not as fun as coaching. It doesn't take as much energy as coaching a lot of the time, but like some of it's kind of mind-numbing. Some of it's new stuff that I'm not very good at. Some of it is sales and marketing activities. Some of it is nerve-wracking. Some of it takes a lot of more emotional labor than what it takes for me to coach, because coaching is a controlled environment where I get to be the coach, right? Some of it is managing team members that that's not my greatest skill. I'm not in love with it. Some of it is reading my financial statements. I got to do all sorts of stuff. Because I decided to build a business that has more than just me at the core of it. I could probably get rid of a lot of that stuff if I had no staff, and I didn't have a bigger vision than that. But even if I was just building that for the first time, I'd probably have to do a lot of that, quite a bit, for at least a couple of years. And you might be a coach baby if you just flippantly say no to that and are unwilling to do it for more than like a week or two. That is not a very mature approach to starting a serious endeavor. Or maybe you're just not serious about it. You might be a coach baby if you're not patient enough. We just talked about that in a little way. You're not patient enough to stick with your plans for more than 1 month before throwing a tantrum. every once in a while, a coach will come to me after working with us for a month or two, or after being in their business for a month or two, and they will flip out. They'll say, oh my God, I haven't had any clients yet. It's not working out. Maybe I'm not meant to do this, or maybe this isn't for real, or I'm angry because, I thought this was going to work out. I mean, it's like all sorts of tantrums. And by the way, I respect and appreciate if you're going through that. I respect and appreciate that you have a lot of energy about this and you really care enough to at least throw the tantrum. That's better than somebody who's apathetic, who's like playing video games instead, right? But if you're doing that so that you can get so upset so you can quit and make us wrong, or make the industry wrong, or make yourself wrong, or be a victim, you might be a coach baby. Maybe. This takes a lot of work and a lot of upfront fast action, but it also takes a certain amount of patience. And you, again, may be a little immature, naive, or deluded if you think that after a month it's all going to work out for you. It may not even work out at all at that point. At all. So are you, and by the way, I hear this every once in a while in personal growth circles, where someone will say, or the platitude is, when you fail, it's kind of like the universe or God testing to see how committed you are. In the case of a coaching business, or being in an influence position, like a leader, or a consultant, or an author, or a thought leader, something like that, it's not the universe or God waiting to see if you're committed. It's us. It's your customers. It's your audience. We know that people come and go out of these industries because they're just trying to have an easy way of it. And I don't want you to be a leader for me if you're just like a flash in the pan. If you're just if this is just an affair. I'm interested in somebody who's really actually committed. I talked about this the other day in another live stream. Now that's part of, like, if you go through our programs, we actually literally take you through a leadership program where you're trained on commitment and becoming your commitment to others. Part of that is don't expect like to do things for a month and everybody to be like, oh, you're amazing, you're this wonderful leader and coach. Nobody's going to believe that. Maybe like a few people will, but most people are not. You got to come back to them in 6 months and say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. So if you're not patient enough to stick with your plans for more than a month without throwing a tantrum or quitting, you might be a coach baby. You might be a baby or a coach baby if you think anyone else is responsible for your success. If you think anybody is responsible for your success other than you, then you might be a coach baby. As coaches, I think we have a challenge here. Maybe not other types of leaders, but as coaches, I think a lot of people who are interested in becoming coaches, they really are excited to share and give to others, because I think they really believe that other people deserve the gifts that they have to give, that they feel that other people maybe kind of like can't live without the coaching that they could offer. And for some people that might be true. I think strictly speaking it probably isn't, but I think we have a certain mindset as coaches that says, I'm here to help because somebody needs my help, right? I'm significant to this individual. I'm so important that I need to be the trigger or the support or the help or the answer or the person that's there holding this individual's hand so they can get the result they want, or they can get through the challenges that they're going through, right? But I think conversely then we kind of think that applies to us as well. Like, I can't succeed or I can't make it unless someone else does it for me, or unless I make someone else responsible for my results. And the truth is that you can do it without me or anybody else. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't take advantage of a consultant or a coach or support or information or courses or trainings that could also give you additional answers and help? No doubt. But let's not act like because I'm going through a program or because I've got a coach now that if I fail, it's my coach's fault or my coach screwed up. It's like you might be a little immature if that's the case. All right, so Chris says, early on it's important for coaches to focus on taking the right actions instead of getting discouraged expecting results too early. Yeah, I mean, this is a real issue. Is coaches a lot of times, especially when they're new, they don't have a clue what to do. And then, it's funny, Chris, I know you experienced this. We tell them what they need to do. They're like, I need help. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me what to do. I just need an answer. I need the steps. And we're like, here are the steps. Go say these things, do these things, talk to these people, go for it. And they're like, oh, no. I didn't mean that, though. Like, tell me something else. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'll do anything, but not that. Right? And it's like, we just gave you what to do. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have to do it forever. It doesn't mean that if that doesn't work perfectly, that you're screwed or something. It just means that, like, hey, take the action that your coach is offering you. That would be a mature approach if you're expecting this, like, really to get extra support from the coaches or the consultants or the leaders or the trainers or the authors that are giving you the points. Take the coaching that's being offered. And then let's see, I'm just reading the rest of yours. It's a long-term life of contribution. If we treat it like that, the good things are likely to happen. Yeah. If you act like it's just a flash in the pan, you're just taking a chance and you're trying it out, well, everybody's going to know that. People can tell when you're not really serious. And they're probably not going to sign up for coaching with you either. So, if you think somebody else is responsible for your success other than you, and by the way, this is insidious. You may not even say that outright, but just say, well, if it wasn't for these people not doing this for me, then it would be going better. I do that, by the way. I'm totally guilty of that. Like, on a regular basis, I'm like, if my family would just do this for me, I'd have more time for this. Or if my team would just handle this part for me. Or if they would stop doing that and do this better. Okay, that's a likely story. And by the way, maybe it's valid. Maybe they did do things a little differently. Maybe things would go a little bit better. But that doesn't mean they're responsible for my success. Doesn't mean that I'm still responsible for actually succeeding in that area. You might be a coach baby if you can't be bothered with training or certification because you think you don't need it. There's actually some successful coaches that feel this way. I don't know exactly why that pattern is, but I still think it's a little immature, if nothing else. So this is my rant, so I get to add that one just as a gripe on my end. You can't be bothered with training or certification because you just don't need it. Every once in a while, I know there's coaches that we work with that, we give them the business side, and they're like, it's still not working, and I say, well, what kind of coaching are you offering them? And I hear the kind of sessions they're leading, and they're terrible. They're not giving a lot of value to their clients, and I'm like, maybe you should go get certified. Maybe you should learn these skills. Maybe you should go through this course that we have available to you. And they're like, no, I don't need that. I just need you to tell me the business thing. My advice is great. My coaching is awesome already. My coaching skills are, I don't need any support with my coaching skills. How much training have you gotten in your coaching skills? None, but I went to some seminars about personal growth. Or, I know a lot about sales, something like that. And you wonder why you're not making that much of a difference for your clients. It's like, who are you kidding? Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, I just think that people a lot of times are deluded about their skill level. They think they're way more skilled than they are. They think that they've been through all that stuff because it worked for them. And, just because you learned some things and it worked for you doesn't mean that you're in any position to consistently be able to promise that you can make a difference for somebody else. You don't have those skills if you haven't been trained in them. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones. But I know a lot of people are natural coaches. I think I was one of them, and I was lousy when I first started. And I worked really hard to try to do a great job, but I was still pretty lousy. And I still, to this day, this week, I still had a session with one of my team members where all we did was practice coaching each other on one of the competencies that ICF that ICF says we should have, right? So, that's after 17 years of coaching thousands and thousands. I think I've done my 10,000 hours at this point. But, It's a mountain that has no top, in my opinion. But some people never even start on the mountain. They think they're like, hey, I'm at the top already. It's like, no, you're not. No, you are not at the top. Hey, Thomas. So let's see. Benoit says, true, checking our ego is a big piece. Yeah, it's like, by the way, I think ego and confidence is a healthy thing for coaches to have, right? I know a lot of coaches that they need some confidence. They're the other side. They're like busy. They've been training for years and years. They got a bunch of skills, but they're like, I'm not ready, or I can't do it. I don't know, can I do it? And that kind of thing. So they need to maybe change their state of mind, and we can work with them on that. That's not that complicated. Simpler than you might think. But for on the other side, for people that are overly confident or act a good game, but they're not really playing the game full out, or they don't even know how to play the game, it gets them in the game, which is nice. I mean, at least they're taking action. At least they're acting out, trying to be a great coach, or not trying to be a great coach, but trying to coach. It's better. I'd rather them coach than not coach, right? I mean, they're probably not going to hurt anybody. This is a relatively harmless profession with most people in most situations, barring a few exceptions. But that confidence can lead us to think that we can do it all and be it all, and we can work with anybody on anything, or that even the people that are in the narrow area of our expertise, like, we're already ready to help them because we know the answers. You can't, just because you know what somebody should do doesn't mean that you can motivate them to do it. Doesn't mean that you can help them to fit that answer in with their life or their business. It doesn't mean that they're going to listen to you. It doesn't mean that they'll use it in the same way you do to get the same results. Like, getting somebody into the right state of mind, having them actually motivated to do something, keeping them accountable for doing that, and actually integrating it in with who they are personally, like that, those are coaching skills. And just because you know what they should do doesn't mean that you're a great coach for them yet. Yeah, the more you know, the more you realize there is to learn. I mean, because we start to realize how much we don't know, because most of the time we're in the realm of I don't know what I don't know, which actually makes us think that we know it all. And it's an overgeneralization that we got to watch for. Let's say, hey, Mohammed, I didn't realize you were on. You as a coach should be the best example of overcoming the stories created by ego. Yeah, so great. That's serious depth in that. If you're going to lead by example, a great place to start is obviously with you, and so that's beautiful. I love how you said that. I'm going to read that again. You as a coach should be the best example of overcoming the stories created by ego. Yeah. So if you're going to lead, then hopefully you go first, and if you're really going to help your clients, then you got to be a little bit beyond them. It doesn't even have to be a lot, but hopefully you are, among your clients or your community, the best example of what it is that you expect that you're going to give to them. I mean, it's not the only thing. It's definitely, I mean, if I'm not the best example of something, I could still coach someone in that area. But there's some foundations of coaching, foundations of who you need to be as a coach, just to be capable of doing what coaching expects that you can do. Get people into action, provide motivation, help them work out what their goals are and their targets. Be a great listening for them, to be a great sounding board, to share with them, radically honest points of view, and give them feedback. These are the core competencies of coaching. So yeah, really perfect. As long as ego blocks you, you will always remain a baby coach. So what did I say? You can't be bothered with training or certification. You don't need it, or you're done. I mean, we could probably generalize that to you have such an ego where you think that there's no more room for you to grow, right? That would probably be the generalized area of being a baby coach in that area. So yeah, very, very good point. All right, I think we beat that horse to death. So, and by the way, these are the top. This is a top 10 list, so we're almost there. So you might be a baby coach if you expect other people to sell or market for you, because you're above that sort of thing. In a way, it's kind of like what we just talked about in number 8, except this is on the business side of it. There are two issues I see that coaches have with sales and marketing, other than just knowing anything about it, which a lot of times that's the issue as well. The first one is that they're like afraid of it. It's confronting for them. They don't want to get rejected, things like that. It's kind of like they have fear about putting themselves out there, actually setting things up and putting time and energy into building something that is a source of marketing for them, actually taking a position in the marketplace, or just like asking for the sale or the enrollment, asking for what you're looking for from a possible connection or a possible client. They're just afraid. Hey Anna, I don't know what you're doing on here, but nice to see you. Old friend from school. So that's the first issue, is just like fear about it. But the other issue is this one that I'm speaking of here. You're above it. Like sales and marketing, I have to go build a marketing engine to generate an audience for myself, or I have to actually go talk to people and ask them to purchase, to give me money in exchange for services. Like, I'm too good for that. I'm a coach. I'm not some salesperson. I'm not some some slovenly marketer, some scammer. I can't ask for money. I can't actually try to influence someone into actually thinking this is a good idea for them to buy from me. I'm above that. So again, it's kind of an ego thing, but it's a judgment that we make sometimes as coaches who have a lot of depth to offer people beyond just trying to do a transaction with them, which I agree with that. I mean, we want to go deeper than a transactional relationship, right? But if you think that means that you're above selling and what a good salesperson does, a professional salesperson, not a car salesperson, nothing wrong with selling cars, but like the used car sales person, BSing somebody to the point where they buy and you gave them a lemon. It's not what I'm talking about. In fact, I talked about that in another live stream. Literally, there's a lemon on the thumbnail for that. So you don't want to give somebody a lemon. But at the same time, just because sometimes there are salespeople and marketers out there that give people lemons, doesn't mean that every time you influence somebody, every time you ask for the sale, every time that you transact with somebody and you get paid, that suddenly that's you, that you're the scammer and you're some kind of lower life form. Because professional selling and professional marketing it's not just a respectable profession, but it's worthy of your respect. Because those individuals, although yes, could they be lying, could they be scamming? Of course, but the ones that are truthful, the ones that really have integrity, the ones that really do care, and there's plenty of those, we as coaches should be looking up to them, because if only most coaches were as influential and made as much of a difference and changed the world as much and move people to action as much as great salespeople and marketers did. I wish that the coaching profession made that size of difference, that wide a difference. Now, do coaches make a deeper difference at times? I totally believe that. Or I wouldn't be a coach. I want to do something that's relatively deep, right? But no, there's definitely more happening from the sales and marketing world than there is from the coaching world. We have a long way to go as coaches and as leaders, as authors, as thought leaders, as trainers, to get to the point that professional salespeople and marketers are getting to. And yes, that power can be misused, and we don't want to do that. But you might be a coach baby if you expect that other people are going to do that for you. Hey, I'm a coach. I just do coaching. I need somebody else to sell my coaching. Somebody else is going to do all the marketing work for me. That is very naive unless you have a dump truck full of money that you're going to give them. Because as a good marketer and a good salesperson, and my team as great marketers and great salespeople, we have better things to do than work for you. We can make quite a bit of money on our own we don't need your coaching to sell, because we can write our own tickets. And most great salespeople, marketers, are going to be worth working with. It's probably the same for them as well. They're too busy with their own vision and their own mission and their own business to mess around with yours. So it's not even very realistic to expect that somebody else is going to do that right out of the gate, especially first couple years. I finally started building a bit of a sales team after like almost a decade doing it myself, marketing myself, selling myself. Okay, I'm not above it, and I'm happy to do it if I need to and when it's time to do it. And I'm also happy to take other roles so they can really shine. And I don't look down on that role at all. In fact, it's the highest paid role in our organization is the influencer role, the leader role, the sales and marketing role. That's where a lot of the money goes. Why? Because it's irreplaceable, it's extremely valuable, and it makes the biggest difference. Because if somebody's not paying for coaching, if somebody's not actually transacting, then we're not going to be able to make a difference for somebody. And so they open the door. They're the tip of the spear. Okay, final. This is the 10th one on our little top 10 list today. You might be a coach, baby, if your reputation is so precious and fragile that you never consider putting it on the line to help someone. I get this from a lot of failing coaches. I mean, if you can think of this coach baby list like these are the roads to failure. They're at a minimum, they're dangerous mindsets and dangerous roads to go down. But this one, I don't think I've ever seen a successful coach say this, that, hey, I've got a successful business, I've got a lot of connections with really great, powerful people, but I don't want to talk to them, I don't want to deal with them, I want to do my coaching business with only people that don't know me, because I don't want to put my reputation on the line, because it's so precious and fragile. And I don't want to lose that over there. And so I'm not willing to risk that because I got to protect that. I talked to somebody years ago. I still remember to this day. Very smart guy, really high level, kind of CFO style business. He really helped a lot of businesses. And he wanted to get his own business going as a coach. He's kind of an advisor already because he advised people in the financial area of their businesses. And he never got any clients to speak of. He just never really got any clients to speak of. And I think part of the reason was because first of all, he already had a pretty successful business that he didn't want to mess with. And so he was busy with that one, and he didn't commit a lot of time to his coaching business. So he was kind of just more moonlighting as a coach than he was really committed to following through on that. And then besides that, though, he wouldn't sell, he wouldn't market, he wouldn't offer services to anybody. He had to go out and start from scratch with a whole new network, and that's hard, right? And I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's a full-time job in and of itself, building a network from scratch. Are you kidding? After 30 years of this guy building his network in this one business? And so I said, look, easiest way, fastest way you're going to get clients is building, taking the network you've got and cashing in on that network. And he's like, nope, not going to do it. And he didn't say this in so many words, but basically it was because his reputation was too precious and fragile for him to actually go try to help somebody. I mean, imagine the worst thing that happens. He says, I'm going to help you. He does a session with somebody. He does not help them. He fails to help them. He maybe even gives them bad advice, and something doesn't work for them based upon what he offered them. And so they didn't like that. And maybe they don't hire him again. Or maybe they tell 10 of his friends or something, hey, that guy's not such a great coach. Really? That worst case scenario is what you're so afraid of? If you're not willing to put yourself on the line like that, don't act like a leader. Don't act like you're going to coach somebody, because you're an abomination to that experience. If you put yourself above your clients, it's forget it. They're never going to be influenced by you. They'll never trust you. They'll probably won't respect you either, because they will size you up as a leader and see that you are not worthy of leading them, because you're not willing to put it on the line. So be willing to put it all on the line, or don't bother trying to coach, because again, that is not okay. It's just not okay. It's not okay for your clients, not okay for you. besides that, I think just the other day I talked to a brand new coach. She said, I want to make sure that I can build my business, and I know you guys told me how to do it, and I just want to make sure that the only way that I build it is with anybody other than friends and family and people that I'm already connected to. And I was like, well, great. Well, then you get to work on building more friendships, because you are going to have them as a friend before you have them as a client. They're going to have to like and trust you at least. And that's a tall order. So, right now she's really struggling. And I don't know, I wonder if she'd gone to and not had so many blinders on, or not had so many rules about who she'd talk to and who she wouldn't, all the expectations about how her perfect vision, and just went ahead and said, I'll coach anybody who's breathing, anybody who'll listen, anybody that is needing of my help, including people that it's not so easy or comfortable because I know I already have an existing relationship with them. I coach anybody when I first got started. And you know what? Those are not the only source, but they're huge sources of business for years and years in my practice. So I don't know if I would have survived without them, really. Do you have to do that? Not necessarily. But if you're so protective if you're so scared of your reputation getting somehow sullied because you weren't the perfect coach for somebody, or it's so precious for you, then you're probably not going to make it. And again, I think it's just a little immature, if not a lot immature, this coach baby that I would call it, if that's your mindset. So those are the 10 reasons that you might be a coach baby. And if you disagree with these, then let me know. If you think I'm wrong about them, let me know. If you think I'm an idiot for saying this, give me a thumbs down if you're on YouTube. I'm happy to take them. And also, what did I miss? Like, what else do you see, like, especially within yourself, right? Like, this is where we want to call one on ourselves first. Some of this was me, kind of a little bit of a bitch session for me, but I see a lot of these in me too, for sure. Not all of them, but probably at least half of them. So where are you being a baby still? Where are you being immature about your business, or about your coaching, or about how you approach this vision for you, or this mission for you, or this business for you? And this includes as a trainer or seminar leader or author or thought leader or consultant or leader even in an organization. And then what do you see in others? Like, what are the immaturities that you see in our fellow coaches, leaders, trainers, speakers, authors, etc., that really grates you? That's like that they're being a baby. And put them in the chat, and I'm really interested if there's something I missed. Talk to you later.